Now it's your turn to rationalize the denominator of a number that has the sum of a radical and an integer in its denominator. Stop this video, take a moment to write out your answers to these problems in your lecture outline packet, and then turn the video back on to check your answers. In this example, we can see that we have 2 over the square root of 3 plus 4. And so in order to rationalize that, we're going to need to multiply by a unit fraction that will make that denominator rational. And what we're going to use, it will be similar to that root 3 plus 4, but have the opposite sign. So we need the square root of 3 minus 4, and we need that in both the numerator and denominator to make sure it's a unit fraction. So we start with that square root of 3 plus 4, we take an expression that has the opposite sign, and we make a unit fraction out of that. So we have 2 over the square root of 3 plus 4, and we multiply then by the square root of 3 minus 4 over the square root of 3 minus 4. Now we'll multiply through. That numerator will have 2 and then times that square root of 3 minus 4, I'll put that in parentheses, divided by, and this denominator will have the square root of 3 plus 4 times the square root of 3 minus 4. Now, because those numbers are very similar but just have opposite signs, that denominator is going to simplify and become rational. So let's look at the numerator real quick. I'll distribute that 2 across that expression, square root of 3 minus 4, and I'll get 2 times the square root of 3 minus 2 times 4, or minus 8. I'll write that as minus 2 times 4 in this step. Looking at that denominator, I could FOIL that. I'll get the square root of 3 times itself, or the square root of 3 squared. That outside term will be minus 4 times the square root of 3. The inside term will be plus 4 times the square root of 3, and those will cancel. The last term will be, I'll have minus 4 squared. So I have the square root of 3, quantity squared, minus 4 squared. Simplifying in our next step, we'll get 2 times the square root of 3 minus 8 in that numerator, and in the denominator we're going to get 3 minus 16. That square root of 3 squared just becomes 3, and 4 squared is 16. So as the last step, we're going to have 2 times the square root of 3 minus 8, and that will all be over negative 13. One thing to note is that we don't generally leave negative numbers in our denominators. We either write them in the numerator or out front of the whole fraction. So I'll make this the negative of, I'll put that negative out front of the whole fraction, and then I'll have 2 times the square root of 3 in the numerator, minus 8, that's my numerator, and then my denominator will simply be 13.